Hi, my name is Valerie, and in 2017, I got my high school diploma under fashion design and marketing, which means that I obviously am the best person suited to talk about this year's Met Gala. I also wanted to say, as a side note, that I got home on Monday and was immediately watching everything that I could about the gala. And by Tuesday, I already saw people posting about this stuff. Like, y'all, I have a job to go to. I do not know how people were already talking about the gala on Tuesday at like 8 in the morning. Please cut me some slack. I'm not the fastest at video editing or anything like that, but I thought it'd be very, very fun to talk about this and I guess to give my maybe a little too positive like opinion on what exactly it is that I liked and the things that I didn't, and also be very, very, very particular about the people that I talk about because I basically only talk about people that are relevant to me, as it should always be in your own video. So this year's Met Gala was in honor of Karl Lagerfeld, and in turn, the displays inside of the Met itself are called a line of beauty. They're meant to symbolize and talk about basically structure, shape, outline in fashion, and the reason why this gala this year was so decisive and so controversial was because basically Karl Lagerfeld is notoriously a very divisive man. Lagerfeld, back in the beginning, was known for working for companies like Balmain and Chloe before in 1983 he moved under the House of Chanel and basically worked there as their creative director until his death in 2019. But he also did other things. He worked under his own line, he worked with Italian furs, and he even created his own Lagerfeld name. He said something about it being the optimum of sexiness, which, sure. But the thing that he is also known for outside of his fashion is his racism, his bigoted remarks, certain accusations, as well as in general being known to be fatphobic and just a whole lot of other things. In turn, this made many people either deny going to the gala at all, or people were very vocal about what it was that we were honoring and what it meant to honor Karl Lagerfeld as a person and as a name. I'm not one to try to start up any commentary or anything like that. I don't really think my YouTube is about that in general, but I do think it's important to talk about what this man did and the way that people discussed it, whether it be in person, through interviews, or anything like that. I know that it's been a very controversial thing to discuss at this moment what it actually meant to wear pink at the gala this year. A lot of people did, a lot of people didn't. And it's because Lagerfeld was known for his phrase, I'm probably butchering it, but he was known for his phrase, think pink but don't wear it. This is in reference to how he would often talk about how we should use and create items that may not be our own personal style, and you can see this very often in the clothing that he created, but simultaneously, we should be able to acknowledge when something suits us and when something doesn't. In turn, he would use the color pink in a lot of the clothing that he designed, but he was never actually seen wearing it. This is actually where the controversy kind of strikes of what it actually meant to wear pink at the gala, just because it is a color that he was known for using, and you'll see later on that he actually did style quite a few people back when he was alive in pink specifically because he believed that it suited them. However, that is not to deny the fact that some people did purposefully wear pink as a form of protest. I don't believe in putting words in people's mouths except when it's in interviews. So the first one that I wanted to talk about actually was Harvey Guillen. He was actually seen wearing this really beautiful Christian Serrano suit, fully decked out in pink. And I think what's most notable about this is that at this moment, he's the one to have been most direct about why he actually wore pink and what it meant to wear pink. He had recently an interview with The Advocate where he said, "The theme of the night was Karl, so in his honor, I came as my fat POC self in pink. Karl, I can be just as fabulous in my body and just as courageous and just as beautiful. We honor the creativity and the work of someone, but also not forget that we have to do better." I think this is a very, very important thing to say, just because ultimately it's true. Lagerfeld has now died, and there's very little that we can do to change what he's done. We can work past it and we can work to better it, but simultaneously, he was a very, very, very impactful man within Chanel and within fashion itself. He altered so many things, he changed so many styles. He was known to be, that guy. And I think that's just kind of important to keep in mind, you could say, when it comes to discussing what he's done. I think we're able to see that a lot in the clothing that he wore for this year's gala, which I also think is his first. He's wearing this honestly gorgeous tweed suit. We have these oversized camellias. They kind of remind me of Sex and the City, if I'm being honest. He has the pearls. He's wearing so much pink. And in turn, it's been suited and fitted to his size. He looks incredible in it. This is ultimately a difficult discussion to talk about because while people like Harvey have said that, yes, they are there for political purposes, they're there as one method or another as protest, that doesn't mean that we can automatically assume that everyone who's there in pink was there as a form of protest. Viola Davis and Sydney Sweeney are two people who both wore pink, but neither one of them have spoken up about it. In turn, a lot of the complexity that can come from this is because, yeah, some people didn't go in protest, but others like Harvey who have spoken about it directly, people like Quanah Chasing Horse who are known specifically for bringing pride in their native roots and very explicitly talking about how she is there to show that people belong there. And even Lizzo taking a photo in her Chanel couture while eating fries in a kitchen can all be different forms of protest, whether we want to believe it or not. These people are allowed to be there, and in turn, not going to the gala is denying someone who is a minority representation. When you are a minority who has to be a representation for others just like you, it's much more difficult to say that you just aren't going to go, because then who's taking up your spot? But anyways, this is the end of my soapbox, and we can go back to talking about the fun stuff. So up next we have Anne Hathaway, who is wearing this very, very amazing tweed dress a la Chanel, but she's actually wearing Versace. Little did we know. I think I like how much the tweed makes the dress look like I could make it stand on its own without a mannequin. I think overall it just looks really incredible. I love the faux safety pins that are on it, and I think also the hair and just everything about it is so suited and so fitting. I'm not the biggest fan of her diamond necklace. I don't know. Like, something about it just makes me feel like something is off. I think overall she just looks incredible. I know that as of late, Anne Hathaway is kind of becoming like a Met Gala darling. You don't really get disappointed, which I think is a rarity for Met Gala outfits. But overall, I think she looks incredible, but it's also Anne Hathaway, when does she not? So then we have here Teyana Taylor. This is actually where I have to admit that every year when I watch the Met Gala, I begin to realize more and more that I don't know anyone. I don't know what to do about it. It's very scary. But she looks incredible. I literally saw that dress in my dreams when I fell asleep on Monday. I cannot stop thinking about it, and I cannot stop thinking about how incredible it looks on her. So she is wearing a Thom Browne, and you will actually see that Thom Browne actually styled quite a few people here. Which, good for him. He did what he had to do. I'm also going to call this a one piece because I don't actually know if it's connected or not. It's hard for me to tell. But she is wearing a tweed blazer slash low-rise skirt. It has a train behind it. And what we're able to see is that it has shoulder pads and sleeves that go down into gloves. I love that design. We also have the iconic white collared shirt with the black tie. She has classic aviators on, plus a thin netted veil. The one thing I'm a little off about is the camellia leather bag. I don't think it's needed. I think it's just too much. I get that they want to honor Chanel in a way too, but I don't think that you need to do that directly the way other people have. It's just when it works, and I don't think it works this time. I love, love, love the contrast stitching that they have on the sides as well as the shoulders. I think it really ties it together. The only thing that I'm a little iffy about, and I think this is just like a Tom Brown thing, but I don't really like the pinstripes as a lining. It's like a blue, white, red thing going on, and I just think that takes away from it. It should have been an all black lining or an all white lining, gray, something like that, that wouldn't have been such a contrasting tone with what's going on. But other than that, I think she looks incredible. Literally one of like my top 5 outfits. I love it so, so much. But on a side note, Conan Gray's custom Balmain, literally incredible. I'm such a fan of all of the pearls, especially the ones on the lapels, the fan that he's carrying the whole time. I'm such a fan of the oversized tails behind it that kind of drag to like imitate a train, but not exactly. I love the oversized pants that lead into these weird shoes that just kind of have the outline of a shoe, if that makes sense. Like it looks like the way that you would draw a shoe in a cartoon, which I love. This kind of in focused like V shape is meant to imitate a lapel. I love the abstractness of everything that's going on here. I think it's really fun, and I think it really kind of fits into like the more playful aspect of what fashion is, which is just kind of remaking styles and saying, okay, well, how can I push this further? It's not the craziest thing in the world. I'm not saying that the designer, broke new life into the clothing world. But what I am saying is that I think this is really notable because it's something that just kind of like scratches an itch. It's fun and it's new and it's youthful, it's fresh. I think they really just nailed it with this, and I kind of get why it's like such a favorite among people who have been talking about Met Gala outfits. So Alton Mason is actually the first Black man to be a model for Chanel. In case you're wondering, it was a December 2018 show, and you can see it here. He looks great. I love it for him. Good for him. I do want to side part and say that I'm really happy that we're able to see more models show up in unique outfits, because I do remember that was a big issue that was going on in the years previous, where basically you would see on Twitter or you would see people talk about how a lot of pretty people were coming in very simple black dresses or just not really going with the theme. And I want to kind of defend them and say that the reason for that is because many of these models are oftentimes kind of sponsored, you could say, by these companies. Like if Louis Vuitton or Chanel or Dior says, hey, go to the Met Gala, they tend to not have much say in what they wear. And very often it's kind of a safe article of clothing that they're given, which is why they're not allowed to slay the way that they should. But anyway, so this is we're going to call it a wedding suit designed by Hung Kim, who is actually the newest creative director who has taken over since Lagerfeld's death. And he actually says that this outfit has been taken directly from Lagerfeld's design journal. I think it's very cool that it's kind of honoring him in a more fantastical way, where it's almost like seeing a creation of his come to life even after his death. I think that's very cool, and I think overall I do love seeing this almost masculine version of a wedding dress here. A one piece that has the signature shoulder pads. It has this like top diamond center that kind of outlines his pecs. And I think that's a very fun detail overall. We're also able to see that, again, we're following the trend of the sleeves kind of diving into gloves. And then we also have these really like extravagant lace shoes that I think really bring the look together into something that is more, I would say it's kind of like the shoe version of how he's known for having these very like large tops of skirts. They're very structured, there are a lot of frills, and we're able to see that this is kind of honored in that way. He has on a cathedral veil that covers him front and back, so that kind of again imitates the tail trend that we're able to see be honored here. I think overall it's just a fun look. Again, I love things that are a little more like whimsical, I guess is like the best way to call it. So I love this look overall. Hun Kim, you did it. So Nicole Kidman is actually wearing a very interesting dress. This is actually another Lagerfeld dress that she was styled in, that people have actually been using to go against the pink quote, but what do I know? So she is actually wearing the dress from the ad called Chanel Number 5, the film, and this is considered to be one of the world's most expensive commercials. The commercial is from 2004. It's actually a very fun commercial. I recommend watching it the way I would recommend watching a Steve Madden ad. The film itself cost $33 million dollars, and the dress is kind of notorious for what it's made out of. It's actually really interesting because we're actually able to see that it was made out of 250 pink ostrich feathers. Then we have over 3,000 crystals and sequins, and then we have a 4-meter circumference train around the dress itself. Overall, it's a very beautiful dress. I don't have very much to say other than I think it's very interesting because of its history. I think it's also interesting that people are using this as kind of like to go against what Lagerfeld said about pink. Nicole Kidman actually said that she wanted to kind of wear something pink, one, because it's the dress that she wore in the ad, but two, because apparently she has been styled by Lagerfeld in pink more than once. She actually was seen wearing a pink gown to the 2002 Oscars, which, yeah. Okay, so we have Janelle Monáe. I am such a fan of her abstract outfits. So in this one, she's actually styled again by Thom Browne. The man has been killing it with all of these Met Gala outfits. But this one in particular was one of my favorites just because of kind of the like acting behind it. I don't know how to say it, but it's kind of like a performance. She basically has this very large hoop skirt underneath this, kind of sewn together piece by piece suits. They're the regular, blazers that are kind of sewn together at the sides, so there's no back paneling, it's just the front. So what we basically have here is that she stands at the front of the steps. She is slowly unveiled, and we're able to see this kind of cute, kind of fun, sparkling, bedazzled, whatever it is, bikini underneath it. Again, Thom Browne, the whole thing is. And I think it just kind of plays again into that like playful, like imaginative design that I like to lean towards. I think it's fun overall to look at. And I think the shoes are also another thing. I don't know if they're controversial. I can imagine a lot of people did not like them, but I think they're fun. I think they're fun and playful and fitting, and I like platforms, so why would I not like these? I also, this is a side note, but I didn't realize that her headpiece is actually basically a bunch of sewn together neckties that are kind of meant to look like they're kind of flying in the wind against her. And I think that's a way more fun way to talk about the neckties that he wears and the neckties that we see without them being directly on the body. This is what I mean when I say that I like things that are more abstract. I think it's fun. I think it's really cool, and I just think overall Thom Browne has been just doing crazy designs with what he's been doing. I love Jenna Ortega's. I think she looked like a UR gotcha card, which I think just put it all together for Project Sakai. And then we also have Sora Choi, who looked incredible with her mixed fabric, mixed medium outfit. Not to mention the cape that's meant to look like a giant lapel is just such a nice touch. I think overall they're just such good looks. You can't go wrong with them. So I actually don't have very much to say about Lily James. I actually don't know what she does. I didn't look it up. But she is here in this video because I think she's a very good example of the rarity that is not needing to go all out at the Met Gala while still understanding the theme. That's, in my opinion, very, very difficult to do, which is why I kind of give her kudos, and I give the stylist kudos, and I also give the dress by Tamara Ralph Couture the kudos as well. I think it's kind of a perfect example of the theme. We're not just going for Lagerfeld and the black and the camellias and, all of that. We're going for structure. We're able to see this almost honeycomb design at the hips that are made with leather. I think it's so incredible to look at. The last time I've seen something done like that was in tulle, which is such a forgiving piece of clothing when it comes to actually trying to do something like this. I can't imagine what it took to actually make this design hold its place. It's leather, it's strong, it's sturdy. This is something that just looks really, really good. I think she tied it together with apparently cutting her fringe, which I get. It's asymmetrical. I think it's just a very good, very simple outfit that deserves the honor of being on theme without needing to show as much as other people have. It's good to do a lot, but we should also appreciate when just enough is done. So Kirsten Stewart, she looked good. She looked really good. I want to know the mindset that has to exist for three completely different people who are completely different from one another, one way or the other, to all show up as Choupette. What conversation was there? I need to know. I just also think it's very funny because it's kind of the scale of like realism to like abstraction in a sense. Like, yeah, you have like a realistic fursuit, and then you have Swarovski crystals that are meant to represent ears and a whisker. I just also kind of like that Doja's kind of straight in the middle as like the most realistic version that we could get of like a cat girl in real life. I think it's so fitting. I'm also just a big fan of hers in particular. I think that it's a very good design in the way that it knows what it has to do without being too much. If you had just done the ears, it's too little and it's too abstract. What are you trying to imitate? But if you had just done the prosthetics, then you're kind of going for like a Grinch, Whoville vibe. I think it's the perfect blend of abstraction as well as realism. We have the mouthpiece, but no tail. We have the ears, but they're attached to the hood. We have Doja meowing in interviews, but she's not scratching people. I think it's a good fit. And then, of course, there is the Dior thong and just complete coverage in crystals, with the super fun, in my opinion. I don't know why people hate it, but I love the, again, prosthetics to make like a cat face. I also love, again, that he meowed. I love the same idea of having, these perfectly manicured claws. Jared Leto is there. It's overall very fun. Okay, so I saved the best for the last because Anok Yai, you will always be famous. This is just such a beautiful piece. It is so gorgeous. It is so stunning. It is everything that we want in a Met Gala outfit when it comes to something for Lagerfeld and something for structure and something for outline and something for, just looking so stiff that you could make the dress stand on its own. So what's interesting to me is that this is actually another Prabal Gurung. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, but it's very interesting to me that this man has styled way too many people at this Met Gala. He styled Anok, he styled Chasing Horse. I think there were a couple more designs that he did. If I remember correctly, I know that there's a third one at least at this gala. I think his style is so fun. Again, I'm overusing that word so much, but there's just something about it that really feels like he gets what's going on. Like, he is a designer to look out for. He has nailed it every single year that, he's been requested to style someone. This is just something that I think is really interesting, and it just overall emphasizes such a good look and such a stunning piece of clothing that people just love to see. We want to be able to see something cool and interesting and unique, and I think that is kind of the optimum of what's going on here. I think this gala in particular has been so refreshing for so many people because we are able to see what it is that we've been asking for so long since the Heavenly Bodies Gala, which is a uniform take and understanding of what the theme is. But either way, I hope you guys have liked my ramblings. I would love to talk about more people, but apparently over 200 guests arrived on Monday, so that's not my job. Of course, I would love to talk more about this, and I do have a couple more videos planned. Like I said at the beginning, I have a job and it's 9 to 5, and I don't often have the chance to like record or work on things. Like, I like doing handicrafts, and I like doing things that revolve labor that, includes my hands, and that means that a project that I would like to do that would usually take me a week has to take me like 2 months now, because I only have 2 days off and I need at least one of them to like relax. But I hope you guys like this video. I hope that you guys want to see more of what I do. I honestly had a lot of fun with this, and I've always wanted to do a Met Gala video. I always liked watching them, and I think it's kind of fun and cool that I get to do this, and I, dress myself up for this as best as I could. I have $5 in a dream, but either way, I hope you guys like this, and I'll be seeing you guys again soon. Bye!